Hi, welcome to my channel. In this video, let us see a couple of free APIs available publicly. If you are learning REST API testing or trying to check out about any API test automation tools like SoapUI, Postman, or trying out few things about REST APIs, then this will be really helpful to you. These APIs don't need any registration or authentication, just add it to the tool and you are good to start. I will be mainly using SoapUI for testing or checking out these APIs. In another video, I have already showed two more free APIs that are available publicly. You can find them in the video link in description down below. So the first one is http://bin.org, and this is their URL, http://bin.org. I'll put it down in the description below. This is having a good number of APIs to try around with. The first, that in the top, you'll see the HTTP methods, all the delete, get, put, update, and then post for adding. And this is basically you will get an echo of what request that you have done. For example, in the post, you can actually try it out in this console as well. For example, if you click this try out button here and then you do an execute, and you should get the response here only. See that it's mainly the headers which comes back in the response. So it's basically try to do an echo of the request that you have done. We'll see that in SoapUI in a minute. And the next one, you see the auth. You can try out the authentication mechanisms that is being used in the REST API. So for example, this is the basic auth. You need to pass in username and password, and you should see a response here which echoes the headers here. And then you have status code. Basically, if you give the status code in the URL parameter here, you should get back the response. For example, let me try something like 200 and execute it. Then you see the response in here that you get. You see the response, and the status code will have 200. We'll see that in SoapUI. And well, there are others as well, like dynamic data, what type of data you want, and cookies, images, response format. For example, what response format you want to get it from in the API response. Based on that, you can write test case or try out the REST API method. So coming to our SoapUI, I have already created the project in here with this http://bin.org. If you don't know how to create the project, if you want to learn how to create the project, you can actually see one of my other videos. I will put down in the link down below in the description. So the first one, let's try the get method in here, and without the parameter, if I do a request, I get the headers in here, what headers that was passed to this request. And the args option in here in the response, if I pass some arguments like some dummy arguments, you get it in the arguments here. So this is the get request. And for the post, basically I would be just passing some dummy request body in the post request, and if I do the request, I should get something in here. Whatever I have passed in the request, I get it in the response body as JSON here. And I didn't pass any arguments. For example, if I pass some arguments like AB and value as 1, 2, 3, let's see. Okay, so again you get the arguments in here in this whatever I passed it in the request parameter. So similarly, you can try out for put method. Same thing. I have just passed in some body in the put, and I'll get the response in here. And delete also here, you can try it out. So next, let's see about auth methods, how we can do a auth method. Where's my auth here? So in the auth method, we need to pass in the user and password as shown here, user and password here, and do the request. But before that, you need to add the authorization basic in here. You'll have, once you if in SoapUI, once you see this authorization option in here, and you can actually add new types of authentication and all here. So for that I have added the same username and password that I provided here needs to be provided down below here. Username KK and then password 1234. So for example, I change the username here and this is not same. I will get something 401. If you see the header here, 401 unauthorized here. So I need to make this authentication same here, KK12, and password is again same 1234. And if I hit the URL, I get an authenticated with 200 OK status, and my response is OK, gives me the user name or user here, gives back the user. Next, let us see another method here, for example, status. So for the status methods, basically you need to just provide the status and change the methods in SoapUI here, status here. And for example, here I am doing a post and I am just providing a status in here. So I will get it in the header here. You see here 300. You see, you can actually learn to validate how to get the status from the headers, and learn how to do that in SoapUI. So again, if I provide 200, I should get the status as 200. So post, and let me try delete here. I change the method in here to delete here, and I do the request, I get a 200 here. And if I provide 500, which is actually internal server error, do the same request, I get the 500 in the status code in the response here, but nothing comes in the response here. So that's about the status. And for the headers, you can check what you are passing in the header, and you should get it in the response here. For example, content type, I am passing application, this form URL encoded. So if I hit this request, I get this content type whatever I passed here. So example, I put it accept, and I put application JSON. Right now in the accept, in the response it's not there, and I give it, and then I see I get the response headers with this new headers which I have provided in here. That's how. And then there is another one with IP. This will actually give me the IP back, whatever I have, whatever my system's IP that my ISP has provided. So if I hit it, I get my IP back, 157 something. So that's about this http bin.org. There are other APIs as well which you can try it out and see how it works and all, and then you can learn to write tests in SoapUI or Postman or in any, or Java or Python, whatever you want to learn about. So that's all in the http bin.org. Feel free to try it out and see how it works. The next one is badstore.swagger.io. The URL is in here. I'll put the description down below. And the SoapUI, if you go to soapui.org and see the examples here, they also kind of use this API for their demo and their examples. This is probably better than the other one, http bin.org, because here you can actually do a post, add a new pad, and then get it, and then delete, and then update on the same pad that you have added it. So this is probably better. Also, this has got other APIs related to store, inventory, and user operations like add user, delete user, create users, and all. So let's go to SoapUI and see some of these pet related APIs. So in SoapUI, I have already added the project, and if you go to get by ID and give the ID in here and try to hit the API, you see that it's giving me some response 321 shows it's available. I have done with this ID, the parameter in here, and I pass it from here. And so I'll try to show you how to do an add, and then we'll do a get. So this is the post method for adding, and if you see here, post add a new pet to the store, it takes this whole JSON object for adding it to the in their backend system. And if we come to our SoapUI, I'm doing a similar. Let me add some 54321 and make it something big, and I'll just make this also 321 and just name it as pet123, and some information here, tag 123 string my tag, and make it a status available. And I will hit this API should something bad happened in here. Change this ID. Okay, maybe this is the one which is causing problem 123 here. Probably this got created. So that's how. Let's remember this ID with which we are going to do a get operation here, and let me change it to 987, and let's hit it and see that we get the same information which we have added it. And next we can see the update one. So update is little different in here. If you see this update here, it takes the ID in the URL, and then it takes a form parameter with the ID and name and the status that you want to update here. So in SoapUI, you can provide the ID in here, like how in the URL. That's how they are doing it, pet ID here. So I will put 987 and the body which we want to provide, and you have to change this media type to how they are. Let's see that. Let's put some name one, and update is available, and execute it. If you see, the content type is application XW form URL encoded. So the same thing should go into this media type in here, application X. Here is the media type. If you drop down here, it's an editable field in here, but it has got some other options as well, but you can put the information in here, and you have to provide the name. If you come here to see here, -D gives, you can provide the name and the status in here. So same thing you have to provide in here, and then in the headers you have to provide the content type. This is the header, and you have to provide the content type and the application XWW form URL as well. It's similar to like how you do it in the form on a web page. That's how it's providing. And so for our, we have added in their system 987 is the ID, and I'm changing the name to cat123, and status I'll make it as pending. So, and I hit the API, and if you see here, the response is status 200. That means it's okay. And let's go ahead and see that whatever we have done is updated in their system. And if you see here, it has changed to cat123, and the status has got 2 pending. So the update is working. And then if you do a delete operation here with our ID 987, and if you hit it, and let's check the header here, it shows 200 here. That means it's okay. So the pet has been deleted from their system. And if I do a request again with the same ID 987, and it should say that pet, it has got deleted, pet not found here. And let's see the status code 404 not found. So basically you can do a full test case with this, add the pet, get that and get the pet by the ID and see that it has been created, and then do an update, and then again do an get, and then finally delete it and see that get this response, and then the status code 404 not found. So coming back to our API, there are other APIs as well, like store. You can try out, can return. Okay, finally there is another API, find by status, in here, where you can, let me try this out. You can do an available and execute it here, and you will see the long list of all the pets that are available with ID. So if I come to SoapUI and do the same thing here, status available, I should be seeing all the whatever is there in their system. And actually you can go ahead and check this one with the get API, and you should see the same here, doggy, and it's available, and doggy, and it's available. And so that about the pet related APIs in this pet store. And then in the store also you can try out users. There are a lot of APIs for adding user, deleting, and then login and all those stuff. So please go ahead and try them out. And that's all in this video. Thank you so much. Please put a note down below if you were able to try out these APIs, and even if it was helpful to you all. Thank you.